I didn't really get that. Right? I'll introduce you if you want. Okay, we're going to get started. Help yourself to pizza and back there. Feel free to get up at any time and get more pizza or anything to drink. What we're going to start with today is we've got our membership secretary, Paul Ebert. He hasn't been around here. You may have noticed that he hasn't been around here this summer. Well, he was hiking the Appalachian Trail. And what he's got is he's got some slides that he wants to show, and he's got some stuff up here also. So we'll let Paul talk about it. He completed the 2,180 miles, so I think he deserves a round of applause for that. Here's Paul.
Okay, and I promised not to go on too long, and I told Tom to yank me if I'm running on too much at the mouth. So yes, those of you who are astute will notice that I have not sent any membership renewals since February, but I did send 65 last week. So, but I had a good reason. I was in the woods, and I wasn't going to send any membership renewals from the woods. So I have about 20 pictures. It was a small adventure. I stayed healthy the entire time. I did prepare for it. I believe it or not, I read the book A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. That movie recently came out. Anybody saw the movie? I heard it wasn't very good. So anyway, I did read that book about 2010, and then I bought all these books in 2011, 2012, read these, and then to prepare myself further, I did Superior Hiking Trail, Canada to Duluth, September of last year. And so that was a good check of my gear, and knew that I was on the right track. So I started out, so I walked 2,200 miles, and I walked from Georgia to Maine. I gave this map to my daughter, and she marked on it where I was various times. And she color-coded them, April, May, June, July, August, September. So it was, in fact, 5 months and 1 week and 1 day. Started April 8th, ended September 15th. It was roughly about the time that I thought it would take. This picture of me at Springer Mountain. I stayed healthy on the entire trip, except I was sick at the start, which was kind of odd. I know I'm not looking too good there. I actually got GI trouble 2 days before the trip started. I was sick on the airplane down there. The first day I walked 1 mile, and then I took a 3-hour nap. I walked another 3 miles, took another 2-hour nap. First day I walked 8 miles total. But otherwise, I did walk, when the terrain was good, I walked like 20 miles a day, and when the terrain was bad, then I walked 10 miles a day.
Were you walking by yourself, or were you...
Good question. Yeah, so is this a solitary walk? Yes and no, as much as you can be alone in a crowd. As I was explaining to somebody else, my biggest problem on this trip was the crowds. Roughly 3,000 people were trying to do this along with me. The very first night at that first camp, there were 50 people camping in that campsite in a shelter that was meant to handle 6 or 8. So you have to start in March and April. You have to finish by October. Nobody wants to be out there in northern Maine in November. You can't do it. So 3,000 people are roughly doing the same thing, same time. I did meet up with one other fellow, and he and I, so here's my buddy. My trail name was Good Enough, and then his trail name was No Worry. This was a complete stranger. We happened to stay the very first night in that hostel. But 3 days into it, we ran into each other. He says, "Hey, I know you," and I said, "I know you." And basically, I did walk then with him the entire trip. Other than that 300 miles, he had foot trouble. He had to go home for a week, and then I met up with him 300 miles later. So I did walk with this guy, and that made it a lot more fun. We shared a motel room. We shared go to restaurants together. Basically, people, what's kind of promiscuous, people would walk with somebody for 2 or 3 weeks and then ditch them, say goodbye, see you later, maybe, and then maybe meet up later. The youngsters especially, they would tend to hike in groups of 4 or 5, but the oldsters like me, some of them paired up, but others did not. But yeah, so this was my buddy, and that was kind of fun to be with him the whole time. I have a lot of pretty pictures of scenery, but I won't show you hardly any of them because you've all seen pretty scenery. The AT is famous for being in a green tunnel, meaning you're in there's trees overhead and they're fully leafed out, and that was great. It kept the sun off of me, and kept me cooler. So I appreciated that very much. Occasionally we would get above the tree line, or in this case I think I'm in a fire tower or something. So I saw plenty of scenery, but probably 90% of the time I was just looking at other trees. The trail is well marked. There's white blazes on trees. Here's the trail in as good as it gets. It's 5 feet wide, it's level, it's flat, it's no rocks. And if the trail was like this all the time, it would be a breeze. But in fact, the trail was not like this. The AT is 2,200 miles horizontal, but 90 miles vertical. So I can say that I walked from sea level to the top of Mount Everest and back down 16 times on this trip. So that's 450,000 vertical feet, up and down. So a lot of times you're just going up and down, up and down. Here I am at Great Smoky Mountain National Park. I have 1,972 miles to go. So it's a little daunting. I had gone 200 miles at this point, but then you see a sign which says, "Ooh, you've just barely started, buddy." I didn't shave for the first few months, and then eventually I did. I got tired of this. So about every 3 or 4 days, I stayed at a hostel. Some of the hostels were really nice, and some of them were really dumpy. But every 3 or 4 days, then I could wash my clothes, get food, take a shower. And so basically I carried 3 or 4 days worth of food at any one time. This is the bunkhouse in the hostel. My buddy and I eating pizza at one of the shelters. Finally, I got tired of my long hair and I cut it all off. Went to the barber about 8 weeks into it and said, because it was hot. It was getting hot. My weather actually in the trip was very nice. It was cool at the start. It was warm in the summer, but not terribly hot. And it stayed warm. It never got cool in the fall like I thought it would. I didn't see too much wildlife on the trip. I saw 1 bear, and I saw 3 moose, and saw a bunch of deer. I didn't see any rattlesnakes. Here the rattlesnakes were protected. I was amused. If you saw a rattlesnake, you were supposed to pet it or something. But you weren't supposed to kill it. But anyway, I didn't see any rattlesnakes. Okay, a lot of, not all the time, but some of the time the trail was like this. These are just big boulders, and these really slowed you down. So the Appalachian Trail is different than the Pacific Crest Trail. There's the Pacific Crest Trail, which follows California, Oregon, Washington. That trail is graded for horses. The Appalachian Trail is not. Horses cannot get through this stuff, and it's tough on people too. So just, a lot of walking on rocks. Trail goes very close to both Washington, D.C., and at this point it was just 34 miles from New York City, which I found amusing. Small newt of some sort. I saw this. This is the quintessential Appalachian Trail picture where you're up above and looking down in the clouds. Never got tired of this. It was pretty picture. Here's some of the trail in Maine. So you get your choice between mud or walking on the tree roots. So this was also slowed you down. And here's one of the most famous pictures I have. Here are my hiking poles. This is a demonstration of how much rock there is. Into the trip, the carbide tip, one of my carbide tips broke off. So I have one carbide tip, but then this carbide tip broke off. You'll notice it's half an inch shorter. So this is simply the wear and tear from all those rocks. I worked on my hiking poles half an inch. These were nice and black and shiny when I started. This part got all of the black paint come off because I would be going down a steep trail. I couldn't use my poles. I had to use my hands. So I would just take my poles and roll them down the trail. So they got pretty deep up. I managed to make the whole trip with that set of poles.
How many pairs of shoes?
Yeah, 2 pairs of shoes. Here are my shoes. I'm going to go through my gear at the very end because my time is almost up. Here is the end. I don't look very happy about it. My buddy looks happier than I am, but that is the end of the trip, and the trail getting to the end was pretty tough too. Okay, here's some of my gear. I wore 2 pairs of boots, and I did wear boots, not shoes. Some of the youngsters wear shoes, but I wear boots. And I went from 2 pairs of those. The first pair kind of wore out. I did have an air mattress. Here's my stove. Typically, I just boil water and then put something in it. I had a bare food bag, which is made out of Kevlar. So I would put my food in here, and in the night I would just tie it up so bears could get it, or squirrels. I am 63, so I wore knee braces the whole time, and that they worked well. I used ultraviolet light to filter, not filter my water, but kill everything that was in my water. So turn this on, UV light goes for about a minute or two, and kills whatever in there, and you drink it. Here is my washcloth. Here's my towel. And about halfway through the trip, I sent one of these home because it wasn't used. Here's my toiletry kit. Toothpaste, that's all I needed. Compass, interestingly enough, I started out with a compass. I also started out with maps. And I sent them home because nobody was using a compass or a map. It's kind of bizarre. You think you go into the woods, you need a map and compass. Basically, you follow those white blazes. Wherever those white blazes were, I went. And whistled in case I hurt myself, and I never did. I really had pretty good health the whole time. Never got off trail? I got off trail twice, yeah. So I was walking down a road twice, kind of a road in the woods, and the trail veered off, and I missed. So that happened twice. And then once I did get disoriented. I thought I was walking south. Should have been walking north. That does happen. Even then, well, yeah, then a compass might have helped. It was very minimal. Very minimal. It was excellent on top of that in the highway. I have public wireless, which is Sprint. Verizon is the best way to sell it. Yeah, cell coverage was good. But I took all these pictures with my smartphone.
Which weight do you think?
Yeah, so I was 35 when I had 4 days worth of food, and then 25 when my food was complete. And basically, I was middleweight. A lot of other people were ultra lightweight, but I was not. This is considered a dinosaur on a backpack. Backpack weighs 5 pounds. I got a lot of stickers on the trail, but this guy doesn't know what he's doing because his backpack is way too heavy. I still made it anyway. Okay, I think I have used up my time. Any other questions? Oh, that's a good question.
What was the highest elevation?
6,600. So it's not really that high. We got down to 150 feet at 6,600. But the negative is you were constantly going up.
It sounds as if you have a familiarity with trails around.
Well, not if my wife has anything to say about it. I would love to do the other trail, but my wife has said, you had your fun, don't do that again. Because there are 2 other long distance trails, Pacific Crest and then the one in Colorado. I don't see myself doing the whole thing, maybe just a week or 2. Yeah, I read it in all the books, but it was true. The White Mountains, New Hampshire, and then Maine. Those were the most difficult parts. In the White Mountains in New Hampshire, it was buddy and I thought it was downright dangerous. We were scrambling with our hands and feet and hands, and didn't know where to put our feet next. That's tough. So, but there's a lot. Yeah, that was tough. And then Maine was tough too.
Does anybody want to say?
80% walk south to north, 10% walk north to south, and 10% do some variation of it. We started in the middle, walk north, and then go back to the middle and walk south. But the majority do south to north. That's why it was crowded.
Okay. Thank you very much, Paul. Paul and his stuff is going to be up here, so you're welcome to come up and take a look at that. And also, Paul's a member of the outdoor club, and he will be doing a full, long presentation of his journey at the outdoor club. So if you're interested in this type of thing, by all means, join the 3M Outdoor Club, and you'll get information on this. I believe he also is going to be presenting at REI once he gets his final presentation and that too. So thanks, Paul, for giving us a little update there. Okay, we'll get started. First, a little club agenda. Our next meeting will be December 16th. It'll be on home networking, how to set it up, some of the security options. We'll go over that, some of the things that have changed since we last talked about it. Excuse me. Also, we do have a MACSIG, and their next meeting is this Friday, November 20th, and they usually set their agenda right before the meeting. So if you're interested in the MAC, be sure to contact them. Our officers, our president is Jim Holman, and Jim is here. There he is in back there. Our vice president is Linda Brown. I don't see Linda here. Paul Ebert, who just spoke on his trip there, is our membership secretary, back after his long walk. Lowell Tools, he was helping us out. Lowell's in back there. He was helping out with the membership while Paul was doing his walk there. Mike Griffin is our treasurer in MACSIG. Stan Miller is our secretary, and Stan's in back there. And today is Stan's birthday, so we all have to wish him a happy birthday there, Stan. Have an extra pop or drink on me. Andrew Perusti is our communications coordinator. He's not here today, and my name is Tom Kreuzer. I'm a director at large. Dues, like Paul mentioned, we haven't sent out the renewals for a while, so if you just got it and want to pay, you can see Paul and pay your dues there. Make sure and let us know when you change your emails, or if you're retiring from 3M, make sure and notify us so that we can keep everything up to date. Excuse me. If you have suggestions for topics, talk to any of the board members. We'd love to have you present or write an article for our newsletter. Website, we have our deals. We have past meeting recordings, so if you've missed any of them and want to look at the slides and handouts or recordings, those are usually out there. We do a survey once a year. That survey will be going out shortly, probably next week sometime, and we'll be looking to get that back within a month there. And we use it to collect information on what topics are of interest to the people, and kind of show some demographics for what the club is. So it's an important thing. Please take the time to answer it, and it's good information. And then in January or February, I'll publish a document with all the results, consolidated all the results there. And it's kind of interesting to see the trends of the machinery that we're using and the hardware and software and things like that. Any club questions before we move on? Okay. I did want to mention that it is Stan's birthday today. Many thanks to Stan. Stan picks up the pizzas and does most of the work, but he also has a number of helpers there with him there, so thank you. Our format today, go ahead, you can go back, get some more pizza, cookies, whatever there. You can ask some questions. we're going to be kind of moving fast, but it is an informal presentation there. No, this is where I was going to have Paul do his presentation, but because he had the slides and we had it up, we decided to do it first. But this I had there. We have the before of Paul here, starting out whistling as he started down in Georgia, and then the after 5 months on the trail there up at Maine when he finished. So it did take his toll, but he is recovering now. Our PC site I mentioned, there are some links on deals. So there's deals like for the HP site, for the Apple, different things that you can check out there. There's also some tips on ordering and rebates and stuff like that. And the disclaimer down here is just saying make sure and check your prices around, because just because there's an employee discount doesn't mean that employee discount is the lowest price that you'll find around. This is some information from last year's survey, and this is kind of interesting. This shows where our members are buying their computer equipment and all the various stores or websites that we buy from. So it's interesting to see where people are buying and trends of over the years of how much more is being done online and through some of these others. You can see like Amazon.com, 46% of the people are using Amazon, whether it's to buy things like ink or external drives or different things like that. The first thing that certainly is coming up next week there is Black Friday. And actually it now is becoming Black Thursday and Friday. That's November 26th and 27th. You also have Cyber Monday on the 30th. A site I recommend is blackfriday.com. You can look at a large number of the ads right now today. So if you want to check and see what Walmart is going to have on sale next week, you can see what Walmart's going to have on sale and start doing your planning there. These are a few of the Best Buys that have been identified for Black Friday there. And you'll see that there's things like the Amazon Fire Stick, which allows you to take your TV and view things like Netflix and YouTube and things like that in there. That's going to be on sale for $25. You have things like the Amazon Fire Tablet, $35 for the tablet there. A projector, Kohl's is going to have a projector that you can use, $40. Amazon also has the Kindle for $50. This is not the Kindle Paperwhite. This is a good reader. I mean, it's certainly better than reading off of a tablet or that. But if you're into reading a lot of books and want a better quality, the Kindle Paperwhite has a better display. The Paperwhite display is easier to read both in the dark and in the sunlight. And the Paperwhite, they tend to run about $110 for the page there. JCPenney's, if you're into electronic toys, here's a camera-equipped quadcopter. So a little drone. It's certainly not a very powerful one, but it does have a camera, can do some things there. This is what you'll start seeing more of in the tablet area and stuff like that. Here's a tablet, $90 for a good tablet there. If you want a larger tablet with more power, there's Target has them. Target also has some of the iPads on sale where you get a gift card back, $50 or $100 gift card back. So you have things like that going on. Walmart has a very nice, if you're looking to upgrade your laptop, here for $249 you can get a 15-inch HP touchscreen. So it's a touchscreen. So just like on your tablet or your phone, you can now use that with Windows 10 on your laptop there. Yes?
HP, for the home advertisements we receive, seems to be trying to clear out a lot
You have to look at each one. This is a Windows 10. You can tell by the screen on here, and also if you could read the detail down here, it would say Windows. Right. But check out the ads. Certainly the other thing to remember is as long as it's got enough horsepower in that, if you buy a Windows 8 machine, you can upgrade immediately to Windows 10. So it's not like there's $100 cost to upgrade or anything like that. No, but it depends on what you're doing. If all you're doing is doing email, running a few apps, things like that, this is going to be more than sufficient for probably over half of the people. If you're looking to do digital video editing of that, this is not the machine for you. But if all you do is want to have something portable in that, it's excellent for that.
That would be a very reasonable practice Windows system. It sounds like for just simple needs like email.
Yeah, the question there is, is it a good Windows 10 machine? I mean, it's okay. The question nowadays that you have to ask yourself is, what kind of machine do you need? And if it's a machine that you're going to use sitting down on the couch, watching TV, a tablet may fit better than a laptop with a keyboard. So it all gets back to what you want to use it for and what other devices you may have and things like that in there. Okay. Here's some more. So this is a little bigger laptop here, a little more horsepower. $330. And then here's another one from Toshiba here for $400. These are some specials from Walmart. If you're looking to get a Fitbit, instead of paying $99, you can get it for $59 at Walmart. Here's a 7-inch tablet, $30. So if you don't have a tablet, there's no reason not to have a tablet now. And that's where I say tablets are great for viewing your email, looking at Facebook. It's certainly, even a 7-inch is a lot better than looking at the small screen of your smartphone and that. There's larger tablets also available for a little bit more money there. Here's a $128 Windows 10. This is a Windows 10 machine. And it has a detachable keyboard and display, so you can just see all the low prices that are out there. There's, like I say, no reason not to have tablets and some of these devices now because for $100, $200, $300, you can get a lot of power and a lot of devices there. Now we'll get into some of the gifts, the more popular gifts in that you'll see. Some of these are new. Some of them have been around a while. The Google Chromecasts came out earlier this year. But Google came out with two different models now. They have a model that's just for audio. So if you have a stereo system and you would like to play Pandora or the music that you have on your stereo system, this is a great little device here that hooks into your wireless network and then hooks into your audio system, and you can play your songs or Pandora or whatever you're listening to on your stereo system in the high quality with the better speakers there. This is the new version of Chromecast, which is Google's box, equivalent to like an Apple TV or a device like that. $35. You can get hundreds of channels. Some you subscribe to, some are free. And this just plugs into your HDMI on your TV, and then wirelessly connects to your network and lets you stream movies. I have the older model of the Chromecast. I can take stuff off of here, like the slideshow presentation that Paul just gave, I can do it from my phone, taking the pictures, and it'll send it up to the TV screen there. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with those. Yeah.
You have to have a smart TV to use that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this plugs into an HDMI, which is, you need a newer TV that supports the HDMI input, but the TV itself does not have to be a smart TV. The smarts are actually built into this device. It connects to the wireless network and supports things like Netflix and Hulu and YouTube and things like that. Yes, Paul. Yeah, and I forgot when we did it, but I don't know if it was earlier this year or last year, but I did go over the various options with Apple TV. The most popular are Apple TV, Roku, and then Chromecast. But there's these other devices, the Amazon Fire. You can pick up that on sale next week from Friday for $25. So there's all these other devices that do equivalent type of things that you can use there. Okay, another gifts under $50. If you don't want to spend a lot of money on a fitness tracker, here's a fitness tracker that you can buy for $19.99. It's called the Misfit Flash. What it is it's like a pedometer on steroids there, because it does keep track of your steps. It also keeps track of your sleep patterns, whether you're in deep sleep, semi-conscious, stuff like that. It'll keep track of that for you. And it's entirely waterproof. I actually have one myself. So I wear it 7x24 all the time. It has runs off of a watch battery that's supposed to last a year and a half. So you're not charging it every night. You're not charging it every week. You basically go a whole year there with just wearing it and it tracking the things for you. And you can buy a device like this from Target. Target, I think, sells them through their website for $23. So they're sold all over the place there. It's a nice little device to get started. Doesn't do heart rate and isn't as sophisticated as some of the $100, $200 models out there. But if you're looking for a simple device to keep track of steps and your sleep patterns, this is a nice little device. There's a ton of Bluetooth speakers out there, all different shapes and sizes. This one happens to be, I think, waterproof, and so if you're going to be using stuff outdoors, you want to make sure that it's a little bit waterproof so that it doesn't get ruined the first time you use it outside. But because the speakers in your phones and in most of the tablets aren't that good, a Bluetooth speaker is very nice to have where you want a better sound quality or you have more than one person wanting to listen to it there. This is a nice little device I ran into here. This is a device for converting your VHS to DVDs. So if you still haven't gotten around to converting your old VHS or beta tapes to DVDs, this is a way to do it. And the device itself sells for $34 on Amazon. What it has is you have your RCA connectors here that you'd plug into your VCR. You plug a USB into your PC. Then it comes with software. And this software lets you capture the stuff and then lets you burn DVDs. So it's an inexpensive way for you to go through and transfer. The other way to transfer that we've mentioned in the past is if you buy just a DVD recorder. Now it's getting harder to find DVD recorders because there's not as many people doing it, but you can buy a DVD recorder, hook your VHS directly up to the DVD recorder, and turn on and turn off as you record there. to create your DVD. So there's different ways of doing stuff there. This is a nifty little item. It's called Tile. Has anybody used it or has one? Or it's a little device, not too thick there. It can be attached to anything. Could be attached to your keys. Could be attached to a purse. Could be attached to something that you tend to lose. And if you lose it, you can go to your phone and you can have it beep. It'll end up beeping and it'll help you find it. And it also works the reverse way around. So if you, let's say you had it on your purse and you didn't know where your phone was, you can push a button on this and your phone will start beeping. So if your phone's in the other room, you can go and find your phone then. Yes.
Well, I think it might work with the right device. Create all the people who have these, create a network. Jump from phone to phone so you can find it.
Right. Yeah. This does mention in here that even if you you can use other phones, you can use other devices. It uses Bluetooth technology. And that to communicate, and so it's kind of inexpensive, $25, help you find things and keep track of things. You're looking for ones to actually track your kids. If you're not familiar, there are a number of home security devices that you can buy, and they make little clips that clip onto the backpack. And then you have devices in the home, and it'll let you know when the kids leave the house and when they come back into the house, things like that. So there's ways to track the kids that way in that. Okay? This is for the person that grills. This is like a wireless thermometer there, except this the additional capability is it interfaces into your phone. So if I'm a griller, I have a wireless device that I can have outside, and I can get the temperature on a little reader inside. This has the additional capability of you don't need that separate reader. You can just have it in your phone and get the current temperatures and things like that in there. But what it's also an example of is you're seeing all kinds of devices being created that start interfacing with your home network, and they either have sensors or warnings or things like that that can be triggered to let you know what's going on. Okay, this next one, it's called Google Cardboard, and it kind of looks like a joke. Because all it is a cardboard that you bend around, and what it's meant to do is to give you that virtual reality or 3D. And this is the inexpensive way of doing it because the box itself, they sell for around $10 or so, but then you take your phone and you stick your phone in the box. And what that then enables you to do is there's a number of videos out there, whether it's on YouTube or some of the various channels there, where you can watch 3D video or movies or things like that. And this is an inexpensive way to do it. It's not like you'd want to watch a whole 2-hour movie holding this cardboard up to your face, but there's some incredible what would I want to say, incredible, almost like Omni theater type experience videos of flying and going through the wilderness and stuff like that in 3D that you'd swear the stuff is just jumping out and right in front of you there. So this is an inexpensive way to see if you might be interested in something there. We mentioned, the home Wi-Fi network and different devices. Certainly one of the more popular devices to put at home are lights and the ability to turn on and off lights, program lights to go on, things like that. There's all kinds of starter sets, bulbs, and control devices, and we talked about this, and I forgot which of the meetings, but one of the past meetings we talked about some of the different standards and devices that are available out there. This is a nice little device. This is your quadcopter. This quadcopter it would fit inside this circle. So it's literally an inch and a half to 2 inches maximum size there. And this quadcopter, this thing fits inside here. This is how you take it. So you can see the remote control is, 10 times the size of the copter itself. But as a fun little toy, you can fly it around the room and you can take it all over. My nephew has one of these, and just a couple of weeks ago over Halloween he was flying it around, and he let his my great niece fly it, and she's 3 years old, and she immediately pulled it up into the ceiling, and it hit the ceiling, and a blade came off. One of the blades come off because they're pretty indestructible, but part of that indestructible is the blade will come off, and then it's trying to find the little blade that's that big. Do you see anything white down there? So it took us a little while to find the blade there.
Where do you get that from?
What's that?
Where do you buy that?
You can look out on Amazon or look at the various stores there. eBay, Amazon would be the most popular places, but a lot of the stuff that you see here, you'd also see it in some cases at Targets or a Best Buy or places like that also. Here's another product here. This is, do people end up taking selfies or taking pictures with their cameras quite a bit? Or this is a nice little device if you do use your camera, you do use your smartphone to take pictures. This is you can, by Bluetooth, you can pair it to your camera so that I could be sitting back with a group of people, go back there, push the button, and this would take the picture. So it's a remote control of the camera that you can use. And for those selfies that you want to be a ways away, as you're backing off the cliff or whatever, you can. So that's a nice little option if you do take pictures in that. This is another option for smartphones. If you want to mount your smartphone in the car, it's hard to find a good place with the dashboard so curved, and you don't want something that's too much in the way. Well, here's a nice little mount that ends up clipping to your vent, one of your vents there, uses a magnetic connection there, and then if your device doesn't have a magnetic back, it comes with adhesive back, a magnetic steel plate so that it can hold it right there. So it's out of the way, doesn't stick out much, and is right there. And depending on your phone type, you can get them starting at $8 to $10 or $11. So here's some devices that are under $100. We mentioned the TVs and wanting to get things like Netflix or other capabilities here. Well, this is a Roku. The Roku 3 is actually the best-selling device in the category now. It sells for $95. It supports voice, so if you wanted to do a voice search, you can say, show me all the James Bond movies, and it'll go out and search for James Bond movies. So if you've got an older device where you have to, kind of manipulate the remote to type in your search or to look for stuff, that's where having the voice can be nice there, the ability to do that. This is the equivalent. Apple just came out with their new Apple TV. This is a device that's had the voice search capability for over a year now. So that's a nice one in the category there. This I just kind of put up. I thought it was a joke almost. It's a fork that connects by USB into your computer, and the fork just keeps track of how fast you're eating, and then it'll alert you to pace yourself. And so if you do have trouble, you're eating too fast or having too much pizza or whatever, this might tell you to slow down. I don't know. But it's a Bluetooth-enabled fork there, and it'll track how you're eating and the speed that you're eating and stuff like that. I don't know. I haven't personally used it, so I can't attest to what it does there. And I don't know how people would look at you if you went into a nice restaurant and pulled out your laptop and your fork, and they might think you a little strange there. And yeah, but it'll pace you and keep track of everything. Here's the older version of the Apple TV. So this is the older version, which they still sell. Apple sells their new version of the Apple TV and their old version. Just like Roku, if you look around, you can buy the Roku 3, you can buy the Roku 2, and you can buy the original Roku. And then they make a stick version of Roku. So actually Roku sells 4 different models that range in price from that high end that I showed you all the way down to $30, each with its own capability. And this is the Apple TV, and this used to sell for $99 earlier this year, but because they have their new model out selling for $99, they've reduced the price of this model to $64 or $65. And as I mentioned before when we were talking about these smart devices or that, if you have Apple devices, an iPhone 6, Apple tablets or things like that, the Apple TV is a very nice box to get because you can sync and share stuff on your TV very easily with a feature called AirPlay. And so it makes it easy to utilize things on there. Okay, this we usually have to mention at least every year is make sure you're backing up your data, and one of the ways to back up your data is by an external hard drive. This is a 2 terabyte hard drive. It's a USB 3, and USB 3 is, I forgot if it's 4 times or 10 times faster than USB 2, so if you've got older technology, and if your PC supports it, you can do your backups that much faster using the USB 3. And this is a large size, 2 terabytes, and you can get it for $78. So now's the time to buy backup there. Even if you're backing stuff up to the cloud. I back stuff up to the cloud, but I also have local copies and things like that. So it's always best to have multiple sources in case something happens and you have to get stuff back. And that's especially true of things like photographs. It also can be true of songs. If you burned old records or things like that, you want to maintain the MP3s and the songs and don't want to lose the stuff there. Here's some more items. These are gifts over 100. The Amazon Echo. Does anyone have the Amazon Echo? Mike Griffin from the Apple SIG actually got this as a present a few weeks ago there, and he was saying that so far he loves it there. It looks almost like a Bluetooth speaker, and it can function as a speaker, but it also functions like a Siri. So you can place this in the kitchen, you can place it in the living room, and you'll see kind of this ring on top. This ring on top will change colors as it's listening to you. So if you say what's the weather outside like? It'll talk back to you and say, the weather now is 47 degrees and raining with this, just like Siri or that. Its own has its own logic to interpret your voice, go out to the internet, do the search, pull up the information. You can give it all of the standard commands, add stuff to my calendar, look in my email, do I have this, send an email, and you can talk to it, and it will do functions that way. So you're seeing these more intelligent devices there. It's not cheap. It's $179, and I'd expect devices like this over the next year to get down into the $100 range fairly quickly. So if it's not something that you want to buy right now, the longer you wait, you will see other devices like this. But this is where you start getting kind of that automated home, because let's say you have one of these in the living room and one of them in the kitchen, and all around you're just going to be able to talk and interact with the internet. Check your Facebook, add calendar entries, check your mail, things like that. It can do all that stuff for you. You can train it, and so the devices themselves can be trained. If you've ever looked into even like the Android phones and that, you can use them out of the box and let it do stuff, or you can go through and train it. And if you train it, then certainly it does a much better job of recognizing your voice when it goes on, trigger words for turning it on, listening to stuff. So, things like that can be set up so that it's not just trying to respond all the time and doing stuff. Yes?
It implements a very sophisticated array of microphones that helps determine where you're speaking from, so that when they background, get a clear signal.
Yeah, it's not going to mix voices. So if one person is talking over here and one person's over there, it knows that this conversation came from this side and this came from that. So the technology in here to me is just incredible, and especially at a price of $179. But then it's the same type of technology that you have in here. You've got CPUs, you've got recognition, you've got connections to the internet for libraries and everything like that. And it's like I say, incredible what they're doing with some of these devices. Okay. This is certainly one of the more popular things this year is drones. This is one of the larger drones. This is $1,200. I've got friends who have them up to $3,000. So there's a lot that you can spend. The quality of the pictures and that, to me, it really is incredible what they can do with it. A lot of people are buying them now just because chances are they're going to clamp down more on it and make it harder for people to buy them and do stuff in the future. So if it is something that you're interested in, you may want to look into getting things now, because if you wait a year or 2 years, the market may have completely changed due to regulations and that. Does anyone have a drone here? Or? Okay, Jim doesn't back there. We can just ask Jim to do everything there. He's probably flying it overhead right now. No, but they're a lot of fun, and Jim, this is a personal question, I haven't asked him. Jim, do you write it off as a business expense?
No, because you cannot use them commercially. Against FAA regulations.
Okay, well, I know people that write them off as within their business.
FAA and IRS are getting together to say you cannot write them off until FAA approves them for business use, which at this moment they're considering having anybody use this for commercial use have a pilot's license. But if you buy it for yourself, even if you buy it today, FAA is looking at a rule that will require you to register the serial number of your drone with them so that when they interfere with aircraft and other things, they can come back and get you.
Does that video go right back to a person on the ground?
Yeah, typically the video here, the more sophisticated cameras in that are just transmitters, and so they'll transmit the video back to the ground, and then at the ground here I could be using my phone or I could be using other devices to record that. And if you haven't seen some of these, by all means go out to YouTube and you can find almost every popular place in the United States. There's drone shots and things like that that because they're so low level and stuff like that, it really is interesting there. The other thing that's interesting too, I watch Mythbusters on TV, and Mythbusters went into the drones, and they were testing whether a drone could do fatal injuries to people. You know, whether it cut off an arm or because the blades are spinning at I don't know what the speed. You're talking thousands and thousands of revolutions per minute there, and some of the blades are quite big also, and they're made of carbon fiber and stuff like that, and they did various tests, and the bottom line was the drone can give you a pretty big scratch and maybe cut your skin a little bit, but it's not going to fatally hit an artery, or it can't hit your head and decapitate you or anything like that, which some people are fearful of. Oh, it's going to fall and then it's going to kill me there. No, it's not quite there. Yes, because of the weight too. It's more the weight, but the blades themselves aren't as dangerous as they look to be there. And pretty soon Amazon will be flying them all over landings and that, so we'll have to watch out there. Yeah, and there's different ways actually you can prevent that pretty easily by putting roughly a cage around it and that. But things are changing in the market there. Here's some other gifts that are over 100 there. The Microsoft Surface book has gotten kind of rave reviews. The new Surface, it's not cheap. It's the equivalent of if you were buying the Apple laptops. This is in the Apple laptop range, but in most of the reviews that I've seen comparing the high-end Apple laptop to the Surface ends up winning out just because of the electronics and that built into the machine there. Now, I'm not a real fan of spending $2,000 for a laptop. I'd sooner spend $200-300, buy a new one in 2-3 years, and it's good enough there. Also, you have the Apple Watch, certainly is out now, and the Apple Watch, there are the various models, but that can get quite pricey too. You'll certainly see more devices, watch-type devices interfacing with your smartphones and tablets there in 2016. So expect a lot of changes and prices going down for a number of these devices. Any questions or comments? Yes, Jim.
On the Apple Watch, if you have a wireless home security system, check before you buy one. There have been instances where the Apple Watch has interfered with the wireless home security system.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the dangers with all these devices and that. They can start interfering with each other, and they'll be looking for certain radio frequencies or certain bands to go on, and they can cause problems there. Okay, any other questions or things? Yes, Jim.
How many have small tablets? Ebert. There's specific ones for phones, specific ones for Android, and this one's for an iPad Air 2. What's nice about this is I can take a note on the notepad and then Bluetooth and send it to my tablet, and the tablet sends it up to the cloud, so I'm stored. My notes are automatically stored. So I take notes for a group, and I can take them on this, save them to here, and then when I get home, I link this right to the cloud, and I have minutes from the meetings. Also, out in the field, you want to take some notes. It's a really nice way of doing it. They're like $150 max. Oh, it's Wacom. CON Bamboo Spark. Drawing tab. Yeah, this is the.
Because of the special paper inside.
You can use any paper. Just has to use their stylus and connect Bluetooth wirelessly to the paper. There's a tab in here that. Really kind of cool.
Wacom or company or what?
Yeah, they're a company. They make the digital art tablets that most photographers use to do their editing or photocopiing and microwaving and artistic drawing.
Yeah, and if you haven't used packages, I don't know, do you use like OneNote or what do you use?
This is compatible with Evernote, OneNote. There's several others that got their own bamboo paper. You can share it with other people if they don't have this tablet. You can save it to the cloud, and then if they've got a tablet to use bamboo paper, they can bring it down and modify it. So it's a really nice little tool.
Okay. Anything else that anybody wants to share or that? If not, thanks for coming. Happy holidays. And you can take a look at Paul's stuff up here, and there's maybe a little bit of food left in the back there.